Europe's energy strategy has long followed familiar patterns, relying on Russian gas pipelines and American LNG to meet its growing demands. That changed overnight. Europe is quietly exploring a significant LNG deal with Canada, one that's already creating waves in global energy markets and reshaping future trade routes. For Europe, it's a move toward energy security and diversification. For Canada, a game-changing opportunity. And for the US, a serious wake-up call. This isn't just about LNG, it's about reshaping global energy politics. Europe's reliance on US LNG seemed secure, until it wasn't. Rising prices, restrictive trade terms, and ongoing political tensions left European leaders searching for alternatives. Enter Canada. Vast natural gas reserves positioned Canada as a logical choice. Stable political relations with Europe reduced the risk of supply disruptions. Infrastructure improvements along Canada's coasts made new LNG export routes possible. More importantly, Europe learned from past mistakes. Relying too heavily on one supplier, first Russia, then the US, wasn't sustainable. Canada offered something unique, a fresh option in a rapidly evolving energy market. Canada's LNG journey is just beginning, but it's gaining momentum fast. LNG Canada is one of the flagship projects, with construction already underway in British Columbia. It's set to become a significant supplier for global markets. Quebec is rethinking its LNG policies, opening the door for more export projects. Major energy players like Total Energies are pushing for faster development in Canada, seeing the potential for long-term growth. If Canada can expand its infrastructure and secure more international buyers, it could become a leading LNG exporter within a decade. The US has been Europe's top LNG supplier, but competition is heating up. A potential deal between Canada and Europe introduces a new competitor that the US wasn't prepared for. Lower transport costs from Canada's East Coast terminals give it an advantage. European buyers are eager to diversify to avoid future trade disputes. Pressure is mounting on US LNG exporters to renegotiate long-term contracts to remain competitive. Europe has learned hard lessons over the past decade. Energy diversification is no longer optional. It's a necessity. Canada's potential entry into the market is part of a broader strategy. Russia's gas cutoff left Europe scrambling for alternatives. US LNG provided relief, but long-term contracts raised concerns about pricing stability. Canadian LNG offers a third pillar of energy security, reducing reliance on any single supplier. Diversifying isn't just smart, it's essential for long-term stability. And Europe is wasting no time. For European energy companies, securing LNG contracts isn't just about price. It's about reliability, flexibility, and long-term stability. Flexibility in contracts. European buyers prefer contracts that allow for spot market access, rather than being locked into rigid, long-term deals. Stable political ties. Canada's reputation as a politically stable, resource-rich country makes it more attractive compared to other exporters. Infrastructure expansion in Europe. To receive Canadian LNG, Europe is investing in additional storage capacity and pipeline networks. This potential deal with Canada represents more than diversification. It's Europe hedging its bets in a rapidly shifting energy market. Canada's ability to meet Europe's growing demand for LNG depends on one thing: infrastructure. The Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion tripled capacity for oil exports. Now, similar upgrades are needed for LNG. New export terminals on the East Coast are being planned, but regulatory challenges and environmental concerns could slow progress. Partnerships with global energy giants are helping fast-track some projects. If Canada can overcome these obstacles, it will cement its place as a global LNG leader. China has been quietly expanding its global energy network, and Canadian LNG could become part of that strategy. Here's why this matters. China is reducing its dependence on Middle Eastern gas by diversifying suppliers. Canadian LNG is a perfect fit for China's upgraded refineries and growing energy needs. New trade partnerships could give Canada access to both European and Asian markets, enhancing its global reach. For Canada, this isn't just about Europe. It's about becoming a key player in the global energy market. Europe's interest in Canadian LNG isn't just a short-term fix. It's part of a long-term strategy to build a more resilient energy network. Future plans could include expanding LNG storage capacity across key European hubs, integrating Canadian LNG into Europe's broader renewable energy strategy, exploring joint ventures with Canadian companies to secure long-term supply contracts. For Europe, this is about more than supply. It's about building partnerships that last. This isn't just about Europe and Canada. It's part of a larger global trend as nations compete for control of the LNG market. The U.S. is ramping up efforts to maintain its dominance by renegotiating contracts and offering incentives to European buyers. Russia's pivot toward China means less competition for Europe, but more influence in Asia. Middle Eastern suppliers are adapting, offering discounts and long-term agreements to keep European buyers interested. The energy trade war is just beginning, and Canada's entry adds a new twist. A potential Canada-Europe LNG deal is already sending ripples through global energy markets. Major players are taking notice. OPEC nations are reassessing their strategies, concerned about losing market share in Europe. South American gas exporters are eyeing new opportunities as Europe diversifies. Energy traders are adjusting forecasts to reflect Canada's growing role. The energy market is shifting, and Canada is at the center of this transformation. If this LNG deal materializes, Canada could secure a position as a top-tier LNG supplier, rivaling established giants like Qatar, the US, and Australia. A growing reputation for reliability will allow Canada to negotiate new deals across Asia and Europe. Investment in energy infrastructure will likely attract more international partners and boost Canada's economy. Global influence will rise as Canada cements its role in future energy security discussions. This shift won't happen overnight, but Canada is no longer just a regional player. If this LNG deal materializes, Canada could secure a position as a top-tier LNG supplier, rivaling established giants like Qatar, the US, and Australia. A growing reputation for reliability will allow Canada to negotiate new deals across Asia and Europe. Investment in energy infrastructure will likely attract more international partners and boost Canada's economy. Global influence will rise as Canada cements its role in future energy security discussions. This shift won't happen overnight, but Canada is no longer just a regional player. This isn't just about exporting LNG, it's about reshaping global trade routes. Canada's LNG expansion creates two key shipping corridors. Pacific Corridor, direct access to Asia, allowing Canada to tap into China, Japan, and Korea's growing energy demand. Atlantic Corridor, perfect for Europe's supply needs, offering an alternative to Middle Eastern and Russian routes. As new LNG terminals develop on Canada's east coast, global shipping networks will adjust. More competition for LNG routes means new investment opportunities for ports and logistics hubs in Europe and North America. Control over shipping routes means influence in global energy markets. Canada's potential to dominate both corridors positions it as a game-changer in energy logistics. Europe isn't just searching for LNG, it's racing to secure the best deals and form new alliances. Canadian LNG adds a new layer of competition among European countries. Germany and France are pushing hard to secure long-term Canadian contracts, aiming to reduce dependence on U.S. and Middle Eastern gas. Eastern European nations, traditionally reliant on Russian gas, are eager to bring Canadian LNG into their supply chains. The UK is taking a different path, negotiating separately to maintain its energy independence post-Brexit. This is more than an energy race. It's a reshaping of Europe's geopolitical landscape. This isn't just about securing energy. It's about redefining Europe's geopolitical alliances. Energy isn't just a commodity. It's leverage. Canadian LNG could become a diplomatic asset, reshaping Canada's role on the world stage. Stronger ties with Europe will open doors for deeper collaboration on infrastructure and climate policies. New partnerships with emerging markets like India and Southeast Asia will diversify Canada's trade portfolio. Tensions with the U.S. could rise as Canadian LNG competes with American exports, shifting the balance of North American trade. While Canada's LNG projects are gaining momentum, environmental concerns are heating up. Protests in Quebec and British Columbia have raised questions about pipeline expansion and its impact on local ecosystems. Climate activists argue that investing in LNG contradicts Canada's environmental commitments. Energy companies, however, point to LNG's role in reducing coal dependence globally. Balancing economic growth with environmental responsibility will be critical. Canada must walk a fine line. This potential LNG deal could change everything: global trade, energy security, and alliances. What do you think? Will Canada's move reshape the game, or will the U.S. push back harder to maintain its position? If you found this insight valuable, hit that subscribe button to stay ahead of the latest global shifts. And as always, we'll see you in the next one.